Happy Friday, everybody. Josh here with On the Wrong Lead. Another episode of You've Gotta Be Sha Tinning Me. I am joined, as always, by Mr. Matt Carlson. Matt, week 2. We're back. How did week
I'm gonna
1
treat
go?
this not that great. I'm gonna treat this like week one because week one did not go all that well. I think I hit one winner at Happy Valley. I think I got blanked entirely at Sha Tin. So we're off to a start. But
Yeah, I I think I had two of the winners on the late pick 3, but they were both. I think like it was like a 7-2 and like I think one of the favorites. So like I wasn't like sticking my neck out there.
yeah,
And then my best bet basically ran up the track. So and I whipped on the payoff leg. So didn't get anything going there. But you know it's a marathon, not a sprint, as as our friend Keith Bush pointed out. So we're going to go back in here in the week 2. Take a just to give it the old college try here. And yeah, we're gonna try and go live tomorrow night. Probably I'm thinking a half hour before first post. So I believe that's gonna be like 12:30 to 12:30 Eastern, 11:30 Central, I think.
yep.
So we'll launch up. We'll talk through maybe the first couple of races and watch a race or two live, and just kind of see what happens there. So should be fun. So if you guys are night owls, if you're going to be up, if you're going to be betting, come stay up with us, and I'll get that posted and scheduled tonight. So you guys should, when you're listening to this, you should see the YouTube feed already scheduled. But yeah, it's gonna be a busy weekend. I'm playing golf tomorrow morning, and I'm waking up earlier than I do during the week on the weekend because I don't know. That's just what we do when we play golf, apparently. So I got an early start tomorrow, and then I got a family friend who I do some side work for that I got to go see. Then my wife and I are going out to dinner, and then we got the live stream. So it's gonna be a busy day. And then Saturday or Sunday, I got another board game day with some friends, and then I got to go in the office on Monday. Like, what the heck, man? It's just gonna make the weekend feel even shorter. But we had our company party yesterday, our summer event, and I won a pair of AirPods in the the raffle. So I'll clap myself there
That's
because
a nice prize. God damn, I work for the wrong company here. What is?
dude, it's so funny because like the prizes that they have, like it's basically like 40 gift bags, I think. It's something like it's got to be between like half to 2/3 of the department wins, right? Because there's a bunch of stuff, but like it varies, right? Like the first year I won something, a I won a Yeti, but it was like a branded, like it was like one of our vendors, right? Like it was a Yeti, right? But there was like a $25 Amazon gift card in there, right? And then the next year I won a pair of, I think they were called Beats Solos. So they're like the cheaper Beats. I mean they're
Yeah,
still
yeah,
like $80 or something, right? Like we're not like that
yeah. It's
cheap.
not awful.
Yeah, and so I gave those to my wife because uh she needed some headphones. And then yeah, I won the AirPods 4, I think they are. So gave them a whirl today. I have AirPods Pros, um, 2s and 1s actually that I use, but um, occasionally I just like I mean, I the in tip stuff sometimes they bug my ears if I wear them for a long time. These actually are a little bit better. It's just like these I wouldn't wear like running or anything like that because I think they'd fall out. But for more casual stuff they're good because they don't have the ANC and stuff like that. So like I wouldn't fly with them or anything. But they're pretty nice. But yeah, we had it at like a wine bar in the city, and yeah, we had a good time. So food was decent. We had tons of wine. We went out to a bar afterwards, and we had a good time. So, um, but yeah, it's been a busy week. I'm leading all kinds of projects at work. I actually won an award too yesterday, which was weird. Like, I show up to work, and my boss is like, "Oh, I got to give you something, but I got to wait for everybody to get here." And so I was like, "Am I getting like walked out like at the company party? What's going on?" And he's like, "Why do you look scared?" I was like, "I don't know. It's just kind of weird." And then I remembered our Christmas kind of get together. When my coworkers won one of these awards. It's like, I work for a hospital, so it comes from, like for patient care and that kind of stuff. And so like it's kind of a big deal if someone in IT wins them because we like I don't treat patients, you know. I mean, yes, my job does like help assist in a way with patients, but like I feel like those awards are usually given more to like, hey, like you went above and beyond for a patient and all this other stuff. But so it was nice to get some recognition on that. So that was kind of fun. But you know,
Does I
I
got? I guess a question: does it come with monetary recognition, or
it
is
does
this just
not. No, I
okay?
got I
See,
got
all
like
right,
a
all
I got
right. So
like a
you can't send your trophy through the window. Unfortunately, that's the problem, right?
yeah
Like, I get it though.
yeah
Congratulations, but
yeah. But exactly. But no, but it's nice because like I said, I I'm basically like I my boss is just like, look, like the more that like his boss and his boss's boss and stuff, and like that, like my name comes atop of mind for stuff. Like I'm getting more involved with other projects and stuff like that. Like there's a ton going on right now, but you know how it is, man. Like it's just like it's playing the waiting game at this point. But one thing that we're not going to wait for is well, we are going to wait a little bit because I didn't don't have the PPs up yet, but we're not going to wait much longer to get involved and talk about this late pick three. Um, yeah, I thought this was an interesting sequence. I thought there was a couple of ways you could go, and I still like. I thought this first race was. I thought it was kind of tough because I don't know. I kind of feel like I landed on probably what are going to be your top two choices in this race. In the one, Tourbillon Golfer, and the three, Good Fortune. Um, I'm a little wary that I'm taking basically like two very, very outside drawn horses in this race. But I mean, Tourbillon Golfer is getting like as big of a jock upright grade as you could probably get in getting Zach Purton, but he is going to be put on the 12th post, so that's a little concerning. But this is a horse that's run well in his two starts, right? He was half a length off, and then he just missed by a neck last time out. Um, and I think I mean Zach is probably worth a length, if not more, probably baseline. So. Um, yeah, I think Tourbillon Golfer is going to be your favorite in here. Um, and the number three, Good Fortune, he was 99 to 1 last time out, but he ran really well, last week, and he's coming like right back here. Off a week rest, which I mean, maybe I guess they think that they got this horse prime, or maybe they're scratching this horse. I don't know, but this is a horse that I thought looked pretty good last time out, and is basically coming right back. Actually, he's gaining a little bit of weight, which maybe is a little bit concerned. But um, yeah, I thought the figure looked good for that race, first out, and you expect there to be some kind of improvement second out for Good Fortune. So. Those are the only two horses I was going to use in this spot. The one Tourbillon Golfer and the three Good Fortune. Matt, I'm sure you went some crazy direction in this race, so I'm eager to hear.
not really. I think Toby and Golfer is my lone A in here. I thought, the trial was really good. I think, you kind of watch, I had the same concerns that you did where, okay, this horse is going to be caught wide, but I don't think there's a ton of speed in this race. And I also think if you look at that last trial, he had kind of faced a similar circumstance. Was I think like breaking from the wide post, kind of had an opportunity to rush up like three wide the whole way. They actually backed him out, and you could kind of see the horse handled that pretty well. Was able to kind of rate back, sit in second, just kind of bide his time, and then pretty much just kind of overtake with basically zero effort. Like I mean, hand ride throughout. So I thought that was a pretty impressive trial. He could have over raced. He could have been just kind of sent all the way wide and been kind of that presser. But I think he can be a little more versatile. And I think with Zach aboard, like you said, I do think this horse is just going to take a lot of money, but I do think it's probably worth it, and I think worthy of a lone A in here. Um, so I think that's where I'll go. I do want to use two other horses as Bs in here. And neither is all that confident, but I do think they've shown a little bit of ability. And the two horses I think are the 8 Von Bear and the 10 Jubilant Winner. I think I'll start with the 8. I think this is a weird horse because the trials have consistently looked pretty good on this horse, right? I was like, I watched the latest trial and I was like, okay, he shows a pretty good closing kick. He's just kind of one of those that's never really shown up on race day. And you get horses like that. So I mean, I'm concerned that that horse is going to sit too far back and just kind of be that hit the exotic type. I'm concerned that he never really has shown it in a race where he's shown it consistently in trials. But that said, right, he is cutting back. They've had kind of a bunch of different distances being run on this horse where he's kind of worked his way up to 1650, 1800. They cut him back to 14. I don't know. Maybe there's an argument in here that cutting at least back to 12 maybe what this horse wants. Maybe he'll get there because if he shows well in trials, well, trials are usually run at 1200 or 1050 or whatever distance they're running at. Maybe it benefits him. He was able to close last time into a race that was won pretty much on the front end. So he's kind of been progressing a little bit. I think if you squint and turn your head sideways. So I don't know the price you get on this horse, but I think there might be enough there for me to want to use as a B. And then kind of similar circumstances with a 10 Jubilant Winner. I guess, the thing that caught my eye, this horse has run 3 times at Sha Tin 1200. He's made up ground in all of them. I think in all of those races, they've been really forward, right? They've been won by horses that have never been, beyond the, three, I think third place at first and second calls. So those races were pretty much run on the front end, and this horse is making up ground. The other thing is that all 3 times he's run at that, he's been ridden by Ben Thompson, who is, as we've discussed, right, kind of got basically kicked out because he couldn't ride all that well here. So, I think it's hopefully telling that you get at least a little bit of a jockey upgrade to Andrea Edzeni. Not a great jockey upgrade, but a little bit of one. They also at some point put Zach up on this horse, right? Like after Ben Thompson was riding. So that's a weird, kind of mix. It does show, I think, to me, though, that they think this horse has some ability, right? He's kind of been sitting in purgatory in class 4 because he's kind of bounced between 127, 130, back down to 127, 125. He is running at a lowest weight in a while at 123, but he does look kind of stuck. So I'm not sure, right? It's weird for me to pick this horse who's just 0 for 10 lifetime and was only kind of hit second once, and you don't really know what he wants to do. But I don't know, maybe, right? Like maybe 1200 is what this horse wants. Maybe getting, Ben Thompson off his back at the distance will make this horse kind of show something that he hasn't shown before. I do think you probably get a pretty decent price on this one. So I'll use it as a B, but I think, like I said, most of my money will be through Torbjorn Golfer. I think Zach probably just does get out in the lead and kind of runs him around pretty slow.
All right, let's move on here to the next race. We got race 9. We got some all-weather racing. Your favorite, right? We're going 1,200 meters here, and Class 3 racing. And yeah, where did you land here?
Yeah, I don't even want to talk about the 3 because I figured you'd talk about all of it, right? I didn't want to steal your thunder. And Brittany Wong on speed. So I'll just say, like, you probably use that one too for the same reasons you will, but I'll let you take most of the, kind of the thunder on that one. The other A that I'll use in here is the 7 Mask Rider. I do think, right, and it's going to be weird to say this because I'm using Brittany Wong on speed, and then I'm also using Zach, who, theoretically is picking up for Brittany Wong, who I think probably kind of ran these horses into the ground a little bit the last 3, right? Like, whether the shoe was against the track those days or just kind of running, the wrong direction, right? Like those races were, won by closers. I don't know how the dirt plays here. You know, I don't know what's going to set up as early in the season, whether it's going to play towards the front end, whether it's going to go too fast, etc. But you know, just to kind of do a little bit of a 180, I do think that horse is a little bit victimized by there was a time where Brittany One was just kind of mega sending on the front end and thinking, hey, dirt's going to be forward, so I can just go. And, you know, that does work, but when it doesn't work, right, it kind of goes spectacularly bad. So I don't know. You know, again, Zach's not the best dirt rider in the world. I do think there's usually opportunity where he's overbet in those races, but I do think, at least in this case, right, like maybe Zach shows something that Brittany Wong couldn't do on this horse. So I'll use the 7 as an A as well. The only other horse that I'll use then is the 6 Solid Shala. I think, look, I mean, this horse has kind of made a career on dirt, right? Like he's won 22 races lifetime. You know, he has 3 wins. All 3 of those wins are on dirt. He has 4 seconds. 2 of those seconds are on dirt. You know, he has 1/3. That 1/3 is on dirt. So like he's basically missed the board one time ever on dirt, and the rest of the races on grass have just been complete misses. So it's hard to say that this horse isn't a dirt horse at this point, right? Um, on one hand, right, you have Ellis Wong aboard, who's only has he only ever has 2 wins in the past year on dirt, which is concerning. That
That's
said,
with
the
this
2 wins,
horse.
it's on this horse,
Yeah.
right? So I mean, this horse is probably a monster then because right, like Ellis Wong is not winning on any other horse but this one. So this horse is basically running through the fact that Ellis Wong probably isn't a great dirt jockey. So, I mean, I think you have to use him, right? Like I don't know what you're gonna get. He's kind of been climbing up the class ladder here, so there would have been a concern moving up to class 3, but he has a win in class 3 already. So the weight's a concern a bit, the jockey's a concern a bit. I think that's the only reason I'll make him a B in here. But I think he's just hard to toss, so I'll use him as a B. But yeah, I think 3, 7 are my A's in here.
Yeah, with the 7, you kind of go back and like right the race 5 back. Um, right, you get the little baby Z pattern here, right, where the horse kind of broke out, lost a little bit of ground, and then kind of came and rallied to just miss by a half length, and you see that, and then you kind of see what happened after that. It looked like I think this horse was just caught wide, those other kind of tries. I mean, even in the 3 post, he was kind of too wide and kind of faded in that race, and he was forwardly placed in that one, and then Brittany Wong, I mean, from the 9 and 10 posts is probably like I gotta hustle this horse out, and I mean we've seen that right at when the jocks know that the outside horses have got to go, right? They don't make it easy, right? And you even see like the race 3 back, it just says tough trip, and I'm sure Brittany's trying to hustle this horse out and is just getting floated wide completely the entire time. So I actually really like I like that this horse is going to be drawn inside now, right? He's back in the 2 post, and gets Zach, which we've talked about before. Like he's usually an overlay in these uh, these dirt races, right? He gets bet. There's an underlay rather. He gets bet up, and so you can usually find other spots where you get some value. But I just think that this is probably with the right trip the best horse in this race. Um, but I looked at this race and I'm trying to find, hey, where's the speed gonna come from? And I mean, like you gotta think that the 3 is just gonna be lone speed on there. Now, once again, we're out in the 10 post here, so I think you know we gotta see what um how is Brittany gonna be able to get this horse out there and going. And it's funny because like I see the last 2 races. I mean, it literally says every chance in both of them. And maybe if you had a little bit better of a gate rider in that one, maybe that's the kind of the difference here. But um, this is a horse that has been able to fire fresh. Has got a win first up, and yeah, I think that this is gonna be kind of a litmus test. I think to see hey, is she gonna be able to continue her success that she had last year on the dirt in these sprints. So I really like the 3 packing bowl. Obviously the 7, and you know what, I think you convinced me on the 6 because I was kind of like you know like, am I going to release the six? But you know what? Like, I kind of look like this is not a horse that really gets bet, which is kind of crazy, right? I mean, like the last time this horse won, two starts ago, I mean, this horse went off at nearly 8 to 1, and it's just like, maybe this is just gonna like people are just gonna see Zach still. They're gonna let this horse go off as third choice at like 6 to 1, right? And then I'm just gonna look like an idiot, like, oh, like wow, the obvious horse won at 6 to 1. Like, what am I doing here? But um, yeah, I'll include the six here. So I think, I mean, like I said, I think we basically just saw this race the same way. Like, and like I look like you get like a horse like the nine who's kind of been has got one dirt try, right? And it was one dirt try, and it was I think he finished third in that dirt try. So, but other than that, I don't know. I the 10 coming up, I just think that this is going to be much deeper waters for a horse that took a while. Like has been in class three. As soon as he dropped down one with Zach aboard, and now comes back up. Um, and I think like the fact that Zach's not aboard anymore. I mean, this horse isn't going to take any money, but I'm just not really interested in the 10 in here. So yeah, I just kind of landed in the 3 and the 7 as A's, and we'll probably use a little bit of the 6 as well in here.
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned about the 9 and the 10. I mean, both their trials looked, at least at the time, pretty good, right? And so I think those horses were appealing from that. This is a tough race because I mean, as much as you say, hey, none of these horses are bred for dirt, I think most every horse, like short of maybe the 9 and maybe one other here, I think the 11 who's first up, like they have dirt wins. Like these are actually horses that are probably targeting the surface. Like you look at the one, um, Must Go is, 5 for 14 lifetime with 3 seconds and a third on the surface, right? I mean, that's his only 5 wins. They're all on dirt. So, I mean, I gave that horse a pretty hard look. It just, I don't think he matches up because of the weight, but I mean, I think it is a tougher race. You have horses that really, if you look at their like record, their turf tries are really bad. Like Gummy Gummy is 0 for 13 on turf and 2 for 12 on dirt, right? Like, I mean, the three, same sort of thing. The four, just as a bunch of lifetime starts. But I mean, it's going to be a competitive dirt race, right? Like
Yeah.
it's on in that respect. So it's interesting we ended up on the same spot because I did think like this probably was a pretty competitive field given the surface, which you don't normally see on this.
Yeah, you know what was interesting about this race though is I looked at the speed map, and they think this is going to be a fast pace.
I think they probably just see Brittany Wong going, and I think you were right, right? I mean, I think they do try and map that stuff out. I don't know how programmatic this stuff is versus how they try to assume what's going to happen, but I don't disagree with them. I guess that Packing Ball goes. Zach's probably going to go. I mean, I don't know. Someone else is probably going to send. Maybe the 9 goes. I don't know. You've never kind of seen him on dirt, but this one dirt try, he was, sitting second on a really fast pace. So you got to assume he's going to send too. I don't know. I could see it.
Yeah, I thought it was an interesting race. It's and we'll see what price I get on my girl Brittany. It might be win bet territory for me there. So let's move on to race 10 here. We got the Wafu handicap as I pour myself another beer. 1,400 meters here, 7 furlongs, class 3 racing. And I was kind of looking through this race, and this is another race I thought, I didn't see a ton of speed in here. So I thought the 9 Master of All, getting drawn a little bit better than last time out. Is got to win with Alexi Bedell riding and going wire to wire there, obviously in class 4. And I think the class 3 races have been all right, right? This is a horse that it looked like he was getting progressively better at the end of the year, right? Had a little bit of a layoff, and I think I had a epiglottic entrapment surgery, so came back and I thought ran pretty well off those two out that surgery. So this is another horse that's run well first up. This is a horse that loves this distance, loves this track. 4 wins and 12 starts with 3 seconds and 3/3. I mean, this is 10 for 12 in the trifecta here, and it's tough for these horses to be that consistent with them moving up and down in class. So I think it just really tells you like this is a horse that loves running this distance, loves running here at Sha Tin, and I think he's going to have the pace scenario that I think he wants. He's going to be able to get on the lead and just kind of cruise. I think a little bit. And Alexi Bedell is he's already got a win um, on this meet. So and a second and a third. So he's been riding pretty well here to start the meet. So yeah, I like this horse in this spot. I think pace wise, this horse makes a ton of sense. I think speed wise, I mean, this horse I think has back races that, absolutely like fit in here. Um, and yeah, I think he's going to be, I think he's going to be pretty, I think he's going to be pretty tough here. And so I like him in here. Um, the other horse I liked was the 3 Winning Gold. And, this is just kind of, you know, I'm looking at I'm looking at this horse and I'm looking at how this horse kind of finished up last year. I mean, did get a win, right? Jimmy Orman was here and got a win on this horse. The other kind of 4, 5 starts there, I mean, I don't know. Like, he's got 5 wins in his career, and 4 of them have been going 1,400 meters. The one lone win was that random Jimmy Orman win there at 12 to 1 in the middle of those races. So, I think that this horse might be a little sneaky because this is a horse that's going to get back to the right distance, I believe. Um, and this is a horse that has also won first up, which, like I said, I like to see because these horses generally don't get these kinds of breaks all the time, right? They start running and they just go, and it's like so the fact that this is a horse that we've seen, fire fresh, right? This isn't like American racing where it's like 45 days between starts for like every horse, right? These horses run once a month, every 3 weeks usually, 3 to 4 weeks. So these long breaks, like finding horses that have won and had success off those long breaks, I think at the start of the season can kind of be a sneaky way to maybe find a little bit of value. And I just think that this horse has been able to win first up and just loves this distance. So I like the 3 here, Winning Gold. So I'm going to use him. I'm going to use the 9 Master of All, and that's all I got in this one. How did you kind of see it?
Yeah, I used the nine as well. I thought, for a lot of the same reasons, right? Just on my stuff, he looks like he towers over the field. This is clearly the distance he wants. I think he's set up. He's got low weight. He's got a good draw. I guess the only concern would be is if he had a yielding course come up on Sunday, right? If it's raining out, then that race kind of 3 back would tell you maybe this horse doesn't take to the surface. Although, I guess to your point, right? That's when he had the epiglottic entrapment issues as well. So who knows why I didn't run well that day. But otherwise, right, like this horse doesn't really have any excuses to lose this race. I think he'll be super short. So, I think you have to use. The only other horse that I wanted to use in here that I thought was interesting was the 1 Snowfield. And I thought, hey, maybe this is a horse you get value on because you don't see many horses kind of dropping down after starting in class 2, right? And he's kind of starting at that, that phase where okay, he's hitting fourth up, right? He's obviously taken a huge class drop down from, class 2. He's getting a jockey upgrade because I think Matthew Poon towards the end of last year really wasn't riding all that well, right? Poon had a very, very hot start. And then he just kind of fell off a cliff. And I think, the races where you're seeing towards the end of last season was kind of when he wasn't riding all that well. So, I don't know. This horse hasn't really shown anything, but I think, because of that, those are the times that I tend to look for value in these, right? And if you're dropping into a pretty, I'll call it average class 3 field, you're hitting a 4-year-old horse, kind of hitting fourth up, you're getting a jockey upgrade, you're getting a little bit of a better draw. I guess about the same draw. But I mean, there's a lot of factors where I think this horse could run well, right? This horse didn't kind of lay an egg up in class two, and now he's getting a bit of a weaker field. So I don't know what this horse can do, but I think if you get the right price on this horse, to me, I think I have to use him. So I'll make both of those A's. I do think Master of All is probably the known quantity in this field, but I think from an unknown perspective, Snowfield is interesting to me to kind of present value on the board. So those are the only two horses I think I'll use to try and get through this one.
Nice. Um, so honestly, we're gonna be live tomorrow. But I did have one play I liked that we're probably not gonna get to because it's in the middle of the card. So if you want to save your play, your kind of best bet play for tomorrow night, I'm cool if it's in the first couple of races. But like mine was in race five. Um, I really like this three horse Enjoy Golf. I think once again, this is just, this is something I've talked about a bunch here. I think pace wise, this horse is getting what he wants, right? He's going to be able to, I think, get a relatively easy lead here, kind of looking at the other horses that are entered in this field. I mean, you got a lot of just like absolute like dead closers in this race. And he's drawn really well, right? He's in the two post and he gets back to I think a distance that he likes and I think a track that he likes, right? I mean the Happy Valley try, right? He gets on the lead, he got pushed and he got caught there. And then you kind of look at the two races before that, and he was just he's just drawn a little bit outside, and I think he's drawn well here. Um, he's another horse that has looked like he's run pretty decently off the layoff, and it's the horse that's got his lone win in Hong Kong at this track at this distance. So I thought the three Enjoy Golf here was interesting as kind of lone speed, and I think you'll probably get a little bit of a price here. You got horses like the four that have been pretty well backed the last couple starts. And then I think even like a horse like the 11 coming up in class, because I think people might look at this race and be like, oh, like there's no like winners in this race, right? Like, and the 11's coming off that win is coming up in class. So that could be a horse I could see getting backed a little bit as well. So I think you might get a little bit of a price on the three Enjoy Golf. So in race five, I like that horse, but.
Yeah, I do have a play, which to your point, I don't think we'll probably stay up that late. I did go to race four.
Mhm.
I just thought in here that Zach was going to take a lot of money, and I do like the six and better and better. I think the other horse that stands out to me in this field, though, is the 8 Roman Crown. This horse is 0 for 14 lifetime, but I think it's kind of hitting that confluence of circumstances where he's kind of caught some bad draws, he's kind of caught some bad breaks, finally kind of rounded into the right weight, getting the right draw, and has run pretty well, I think, the last couple, to make up some ground against fields that, again, were kind of run towards the front end. So I think you can present a pretty decent value in here. And I think, again, if you can get around Zach taking a ton of money in here, drawn from the one post, which I think everyone's just going to see and bet, I do think this 8 presents some pretty nice value closing in. It's kind of been on the improve, so I think one that could potentially sneak through the radar and you can get a pretty good price on that can potentially show something. So.
And that's going to do it for us here on You've Gotta Be Sha Tinning Me. Obviously, check us out at onthewronglead.com, at wrong_lead on Twitter. I am at Cherry Drank. He is at Slow and Steady. He'll have his full card plays up on his Twitter, so check that out. And like I said, we'll be live tomorrow night, probably about a half hour before first post. So we'll get that posted and scheduled, and hope to see you guys there. We always love when we get a little bit of action and chat. So have a good weekend, and let's make some money tomorrow.